This is Amy Suites in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is quite possibly one of the most Instagrammable hotels you'll ever lay your eyes on. And somehow it is also simultaneously one of the most polarizing hotels when it comes to guest reviews. Just look at this 1-star review which says, "Had a very disappointing stay here, there's nothing great about this place. Yikes." Or this one which says, "Trust me when I say that this hotel is worse than Hotel 81. Double yikes." But before you write off the hotel and swear never to stay there, look at this 5-star review which says, "I recently stayed at Amy Suites and I can't stop thinking about how incredible the experience was. Nice." Or this one which says, "Amy Suites is a hidden gem in KL. Love the stylish decor, cozy atmosphere and super friendly staff." Wow. So how is it possible that the reviews can be so different? Do the 1-star folks have impossibly high standards? And what about the 5-star folks? Are they just blind to a fault? Well, stick around because in this video, we're going to find out for ourselves. Our first impressions upon arriving at Amy Suites: whoever designed this hotel loves chandeliers, like a lot. There are chandeliers everywhere. Chandeliers at the hotel lobby, chandeliers at the lifts, chandeliers in the passageways, chandeliers in random places throughout the hotel like this one. Even chandeliers in the car park of all places. But oddly enough, no chandeliers at the hotel reception where you check in. Did they just run out of budget, or did they switch to a new architect midway through the construction project and he or she decided to go in a completely different direction design-wise? Anyway, with or without the chandeliers, the hotel has a grand, almost opulent design everywhere you look. Whether you're waiting for your ride at the lobby or walking down the passageway to your room or even just strolling through a random part of the hotel, it's easy to make the case that Amy Suites could be the very definition of luxury, which makes a review like this one somewhat confusing. It says, and I quote, "The decor and everything is so cheap and fake." Like, did we even stay at the same place? In case it sounds like I'm financially motivated to speak positively about the hotel, I'd like to go on record to say this video is not sponsored by Amy Suites. They have no idea I'm making this video. I'm just sharing with you my honest thoughts based on what I personally experienced here. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about the room we booked. Amy Suites offers 4 room types: the studio, 1-bedroom suite, 2-bedroom suite, and 3-bedroom suite. We stayed in the 2-bedroom suite. It's a 600 square feet or 55 square meter apartment that accommodates up to 4 adults. For us, it costs under 120 Singapore dollars per night, so that's slightly less than 30 Singapore dollars per adult. I'd argue that 30 Singapore dollars per adult is, to put it mildly, quite good value for money. But before I get ahead of myself, let's look at an online review first. So this guest claims in her review, and I quote, that cleanliness was a major concern during my stay. The overall condition of the room was disappointing. The carpets were stained and there were visible signs of neglect. Okay. And she goes on to say that, "Trust me when I say that this hotel is worse than Hotel 81. Wow. Okay, for starters, $30, which is what we paid per adult per night to stay at Amy Suites, only gets you 2 hours at a Hotel 81 in Singapore. Before you smirk, that information doesn't come from me. I read about it from this article published on the Smart Local. As for her other concerns, such as the visible signs of neglect, stained carpets, concerns over cleanliness, and overall disappointing room condition, well, let's go see for ourselves. The specific room we stayed in was 41-08. Here's how it looks when you're standing just a few steps away from the entrance, as opposed to standing all the way inside near the windows. If there are any visible signs of neglect, I don't see them. 55 square meters isn't a lot of space, so the apartment does feel just a tiny bit cramped, especially the walkway to the bedrooms, which is partially obstructed by the dining table and chairs. Fortunately, the living room doesn't face that issue. Interestingly though, instead of a standard sofa, you get a sofa bed, although there is also an armchair. Don't see any stains here, whether on the carpet or the sofa bed. The TV is right across from the sofa bed. The pantry, right next to the TV. It's equipped with a sink and an electric stovetop. You also get a kettle and a washing machine. Coming back to that review earlier on that mentioned everything is so cheap and fake, that particular guest also claimed, and I quote, that the washing machine turned my laundry into awful smelling rubbish. Having used the machine to do my own laundry and worn the clothes that came out of it, I can safely say it smelled perfectly fine. I guess this particular guest was somehow just Unlucky? Anyway, in this pantry, you do get a fridge that's not quite full size but not quite a mini fridge either. On the pantry countertop are a few complimentary bottles of water and some snacks. And there's a handy little borrow list that you can fill up in case you need other things from the hotel like a toaster, baby crib, or even a universal travel charger. Before we get to the bedrooms, just wanted to point out there's no balcony here, but you do still get a pretty decent view of the city skyline. Okay, this right here is one of the 2 bedrooms in this 2-bedroom suite. I guess you could consider this one to be the guest bedroom as it comes with 2 single beds separated by a nightstand in the middle. Across from the 2 beds are the wardrobe and dressing table, and that's it. In the other bedroom, you'll find a queen-size bed, so I guess that kinda makes it the master bedroom. You'll also find a wardrobe and a dressing table in here, but no attached bathroom. Speaking of which, rather unfortunately, there's only 1 bathroom in this 2-bedroom suite. With 4 adults sharing a single bathroom, quite a bit of patience is needed, especially during peak hours like early morning or just before bedtime. The only saving grace, at least it's in the common area rather than in one of the bedrooms like our apartment at KLCC Star Suites. It's not the most luxurious of bathrooms and a far cry from the grand opulent design you'll encounter almost everywhere else in the hotel, but at least it's clean. So unlike this dear guest who wrote, and again I quote, "The bathroom in particular was not up to standard," we ourselves had no major concerns. Overall, the 2-bedroom suite takes a rather minimalist, almost humble approach to its design, at least when compared to nearly every other part of the hotel. It's more in line with the design of the hotel reception, so this again does leave me wondering if the developers really did change course midway through the project. Whatever the case may be, we had a decent enough time staying here and we have no major complaints, unlike the guests who compared Amy's Suites to Hotel 81. I mean, has she actually even seen a photo of Hotel 81 before, let alone stayed there? Because honestly, there's just no comparison. On the other hand, I kinda do feel bad for her. Maybe it's just a case of bad luck or bad timing. We ourselves didn't have anywhere near as bad an experience as she did, and in a way, I think we should almost be grateful to guests like her because maybe it really was that bad previously and their feedback galvanized the hotel into making the necessary improvements, and that's why when we stayed there, we had quite a pleasant time. Speaking of a pleasant time, you might be excited to know that there are 3 swimming pools here. This is the Mosaic Pool. This is the Sky Pool, and this is the Jacuzzi Pods. But again, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's look at another review which says, and I quote, "I went here for the pools, but OMG, don't even bother. It is absolutely crowded to the point where there's physically no space in any of the pools. People are even drying their clothes and towels at the pool railing. I hated it, never coming back here again." That bad, huh? And this other review says, "The pools are overcrowded. There are lots of screaming people." Well, let's go see if we can find some screaming people at the pool, shall we? Let's start with the Sky Pool. This is it. Design-wise, it's very much along a similar theme with the giant chandelier at one end of the pool and the gold trim all over the place. But I looked and there's no one here. Okay, to be fair, I hung around the Sky Pool for about 30 minutes and eventually a young couple did come here, but only to take photos. Maybe we'll find more of a crowd at the Mosaic Pool, so let's head there now. There are a few people here, but hardly a crowd. By the way, I'm guessing they call it the Mosaic Pool because of this mosaic art. I stayed around here for over an hour and this was pretty much as crowded as it got. So finally, let's go check out the jacuzzi pods. Right, we're here now and I do see some clothes on the railing like mentioned in that review earlier. I guess they might belong to this person who looks like he or she is having a chill time in the pool. Also spotted a few dudes over on the other end of the jacuzzi pods and that's about it. Not too crowded, but definitely a smaller space to play around in compared to the Mosaic Pool, so I can see how you can get a bit claustrophobic if just a few more people join the party here. So our overall experience, not as bad as the reviews describe it, but maybe we're just lucky, and also we probably weren't there during the peak season. For what it's worth, we did stay at Amy's Suites over the weekend, and those were the crowds we experienced when spending time at the pools. Anyway, you know how earlier on we saw the jacuzzi pods from above like this? This isn't from a drone. This view is actually from the gym, and this is it. A rather unconventional looking gym. Most gyms I've been to opt for a more muted, lighter color palette, but here nearly everything is in black with gold trim everywhere. It is a somewhat striking design, if a little ostentatious. I'm not sure what the inspiration for it was, but it does remind me a bit of the Citadel at the End of Time from the Marvel TV series Loki. Okay, we're on to the final part of this hotel review. Our room rate of 120 Singapore dollars per night got us complimentary breakfast, which is served at Aloe, a cafe on the ground floor. In case you can't find it, there's a sign pointing you in the right direction. And here's the outside of Aloe itself. Don't spot any chandeliers yet. Let's go see if there are any on the inside. We're inside now, and there's a downstairs and an upstairs, and yep, I spotted a couple of chandeliers up there. Boy, they just can't help themselves with the chandeliers, can they? At least these look a bit different, a bit more of a modern and, dare I say it, Gen Z take on chandeliers. Overall, Aloe is a chill, cozy cafe with soft lighting, a gentle color palette, and good vibes. Here's the breakfast menu when we were there. It's not a buffet, it's only a la carte and you only get one serving per person. We tried almost everything on the menu, and for us, the morning hash brown, muffin, and the Aloe breakfast were the best. The mighty Mexicana chicken wrap was not that mighty. It was a bit small, a bit meh in taste, and the sriracha mayo sauce slattered all over it was a bit too sweet. The nasi lemak was decent, but I have a feeling you can easily find a better, tastier version elsewhere. The chicken bolognese and smoked salmon open toast were okay, just ordinary. In case the food at Aloe isn't to your fancy or you're feeling a little hungry at night, there's a mini mart conveniently located on the ground floor. It's called Bila Bila, and this particular mini mart is a bit bigger and has a bit more variety than your standard 7-Eleven. I mean, it's got wine, frozen food, baked goods, snacks, all sorts of drinks, even fresh fruits and vegetables. So if you're staying in Amy Suites, you never need to worry about going hungry or thirsty. You've got this convenience store conveniently located right below you. Alright, that's it for this review of Amy Suites in Kuala Lumpur. I'd love to know what you thought of it, so please comment below. If you were trying to decide whether to stay here and found this video useful, please consider liking and subscribing. Finally, if you stayed here before and you agree or disagree with what I said, feel free to tell me how right or how wrong I am. If you prefer to stay closer to the city centre, then consider KLCC Star Suites. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one.